So you made this comment earlier, but I can't run past it. You were told to be called Cindy or Cynthia.
Mm-hmm.
How did you stay authentic to yourself and still lead with purpose at AT&T in these days?
Okay, so the backstory on that is I was 40 years old and I got this call. I just walked in the house and my boss called me because the company had elected me to be an officer. So the board had elected me to be an officer of the corporation. At this time, I knew what an officer was. Okay, my boss was an officer. And on the other end of the phone, so my husband is kind of like where you are. And so I said, they want me to be an officer? And she said, yes, you're being promoted. And so then she went on to give me a laundry list of things that she wanted me to change. She says, now here's what I think you need to do. I want you to change your hairstyle. She said, I left a magazine, I'm not making this up, right? She said, I left a magazine on your desk, and there are these black people, I think it was Black Enterprise or something. She says, she said, there's these black people on the magazine cover, they're all in white, and the women have short haircuts, and so she's just going on, and I'm like, okay. And she said, and I think if you can get some white, that'll be great. She says, and then there's a company called St. John. Okay, now I took that advice though. She said, she said, there's a company called St. John, and she says, and then I want you to change your name. You can't be Cynt, because nobody knows what a Cynt is. You have to be Cindy or Cynthia. I've been Cynt my whole life. I mean, I'm heaven sent. She didn't realize that though, right? I've been Cynt my whole life. And so then at this point, the conversation is starting to shift. She said, and then I don't want you to laugh so much. You're too happy. She said, you got to just calm down a little bit. And at this point, I mean, I just wanted to I just wanted to yell out, but I didn't. I didn't. So I said, okay. And so my husband is hearing this, right? And so I said, and you want me to get my hair cut? And so he can tell, I mean, he's known me for a long time, right? He can tell that I'm getting ready to just, it's getting ready to shift, right? And so I said, well, I'm not going to get my hair cut. I said, you want me to be an officer, but you want to give me a laundry list. She said, oh yes, and you can't have people coming by your office all the time because they're coming by there all the time. People are in there too much, blah, 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 blah. You're not going to be able to be in touch with the people. She says, and then, so this is where the straw broke the camel's back. She says, and you use words like blessed. You can't say blessed. You have to say lucky. I said, well, what if I don't believe I'm lucky, that I truly believe that I'm blessed, and I know I'm blessed? Because at this point, the Pentecostal in me is about to come out. Like we're about to have a revival on the phone, boss, okay? So I went through the list, and my husband is in the background. He's like, I got a barber. You can get the haircut, because all he can think about is, are you really getting ready to turn down an officer promotion? And I said, you know what, boss? I said, I am so honored by the fact that this company wants me to be an officer. I mean, when I think about where I came from, this is huge. And at that time, we only had 2 other black female officers. I said, but you are asking me to fundamentally change who I am. Haircut is one thing. I'll take coaching about my job and all that. But when you start telling me to change my name, and you're telling me I can't say blessed, and I can't stand on the foundation that I was raised on, this is not the job for me. I said, so I'm going to turn this promotion down. My husband is just like, oh God, I can't believe this, right? And so I literally have to turn away from him. I'm like, okay. I turned it down. And she was so happy because she didn't think I was sophisticated enough for it anyway. And so I said, but boss, here's what I'm concerned about. Like, I'm a vice president. I'm doing great. I'm taking care of my family. I have a lot of people, extended family, depending on me. I need you to help me turn this job down, but also figure out how to keep this job, because I didn't know if they were going to be upset or whatever. And she says, oh no, we're okay, we're okay. I can turn it down. I think you're making the right decision. I mean, because you're just not going to change who I am. So hung up. I told my husband, he just had to get some aspirin, and so he was just a mess, okay? And then the phone rang about 5 minutes later, and it was the chairman of our company at the time, Ed Whitaker. And he said, Cynt, and he put an emphasis on the T. He said, girl, I just heard what happened. He said, let's do this all over again. He said, I know exactly who you are, and that's why we're making you an officer of the company. He said, I've been in your office. I see that big sign that you have in your office that say, Lord, there's nothing that can happen today that you and I can't handle. He said, and the reason I remember that, because he said, I put that in my mind. I put that in my memory bank when I left San Francisco the last time. He said, oh, that's why good stuff is happening in there. He said, you don't have to say a thing. You can say blessed. I mean, apparently she told him about the whole conversation. He said, I'm sorry that happened. He said, so I am calling to personally ask you to be an officer of this company. And on my first officers conference, on the first day when I walked in, Ed Whitaker was standing at the door to greet me. And he said, welcome, girl. He said, this is a long way from the Easter Hill Public Housing Projects. He said, you are one of 110.
Yeah.
You go in there and be sent.
Yes.
So I've been sent ever since then.
Love it.
And you know why I love that story? It has nothing to do with me taking a stand, because we take stands. I mean, everybody does that. I love that story because of Ed Whitaker. Just the power of a leader, the power of his words. He literally set me loose that day to be who I am. So I talk all this about authenticity, and at the Mavs, our values spell crafts. Character, and I have to end on a character story, but character, respect, authenticity, fairness, teamwork, and safety, both physical and emotional safety. So authenticity is big for us, but that's where I got it from. Ed Whitaker set me loose to be sent. And so that's my mission every day, is to have my team members be who they are and be themselves, and not have anybody try to make them be somebody else. It's too exhausting being somebody else. I just want that free person who walks in the door.